Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. This thing got away from me last year, but it was before I was actually hunting these things down and wanting to keep them for my own personal collection. So I was happy when I saw this interesting Firebird show back up. So it was about a year ago, a shop called SS Vintage in Chicago, Illinois got sold two very interesting guitars that were from the very early 90s that had really cool custom colors to them. One of them was a purple Thunderbird bass, which was the very first time I saw one of those things get a custom color. And then the other one was this bad boy right here. It is a Purple Burst Firebird from the year 1990. Obviously, I had to get this thing to document it this time. Let's go ahead and see how beautiful this thing is. Well, it's safe to say that it was packed well, but underneath all this stuff, oh wow. That is very vibrant. I had somebody tell me that this looked like a Barney Firebird, but it's like a neon purple in person. But where's our tuners? They're gone because it's actually a pretty good idea to at least remove the first couple of tuners on the Firebird headstocks because they're the giant banjo style ones. A lot of the vintage ones will have repaired headstocks because of that phenomenon. So this seller opted to remove them, and it's not that big of a deal. I've got to take the strings off to take a look at the parts and specs of this thing anyways, but this thing's pretty fancy. So it really depends what kind of lighting you have here. I mean, there's a slightly darker border right here, and then there's more of like a magenta color in the center. But due to it being a metallic finish, I mean, it really changes colors at all these different lighting angles. That's pretty sweet. Now, yes, it would have been nice to have the complete set, but as I was telling you guys before, the first time this thing came up, I wasn't quite a custom color Firebird collector yet. I just love these early 90s ones, because there's got to be a story behind these. We've seen a green burst one, what looks like a blue burst, then we've got like the Snakeskin Firebirds of the years 1990 and 1991. We know the story of those. You can actually check them out right here in this episode. But this is another one of the custom shop original custom colors back when the Firebird was just coming back in full force. Now, unfortunately, I've got another shrinking pick guard on me. That at least this one will be a little bit easier to replace. It's just a regular style one. It looks like this one's even starting to crack now. But that's why we've got some oxidation right here on our pickup covers. I might be able to clean that off though. But the pearloid pick guards look so cool on these things, but they off-gas because they're real celluloid and, you know, it just destroys everything. So this one was first listed by SS Vintage for $6,000. It went to a private collector, and then a private collector listed it on Reverb for $7,500. I was able to get it at a price that Eddie Van Halen would be happy with, but it took a couple of months of waiting the seller out. So this is another one for my personal collection because I want to get them all. It's like a Pokemon collection type thing. I want all the custom colored Firebirds because it's not like the custom colors of the 60s. I mean, you've got all those over here on this color wheel. Those things are too expensive for me right now. So I'm happy picking these things up because they're just, you know, unique. Fascinating. It might not be for everybody. I mean, this purple one even got Reverb's attention. They put it on their Instagram page, but man, I'm glad I was able to pick it up before then because somebody else would have stole it from me. But I love my custom shop originals because it means they're one-offs of some sort. Even though I don't necessarily love the neck profiles of these early 90s Firebirds, they're just so cool. But sweet, it looks like this one even has some original case candy to it. Always love it when you have this because it's, you know, just transports you back into the olden days. 5-year Gibson limited warranty page. Doesn't look like it was ever filled out, but this is a rare piece of case candy, the quality assurance page. You don't see that too often, and you get this guy, which you see quite often. I was kind of hoping we would see like the original sales receipt to know the story behind these two original Purple Bursts, but unfortunately, as of right now, I think they were just, you know, kind of being crazy. Maybe it's for a NAMM show display piece. They wanted to just show how crazy these Firebirds could be, but as of right now, I don't have the official story on these guys. So let's go ahead and throw this one on the workbench, clean it up, put the original parts back on it, and then get to a playing demo. Inside the Purple Burst Bird, cleaned up nicely. Our pickups are just our regular Firebird style ones. They read patent number on the back. The same thing is true for our bridge pickup. As we were talking earlier, the off-gassing of the pickguard has really done a number here, and that's after cleaning it up. I was hoping more of that would polish off, but no, that's just the plating that's been worn. As far as the cavities themselves, nothing too fancy here. You can just see the original purple finish. Within the circuit, the neck pickup reads 14.69 k ohms. The middle position, just for fun, is 8.76. And then the bridge is just ridiculously hot. You have to change it over to the 200 k ohm setting, so I don't know. But now, just in case you guys thought I was kidding about this, this is the danger of true celluloid pickguards. They just destroy your guitar. Brace yourselves. Look what it's doing. These are actually completely finished deep, like you could actually flake this finish off if you really pried hard enough at it. And it somehow leached out all the purple. That's the mahogany wood grain that you're seeing right there. Compare the purple to this to there. I mean, it was just eating straight through the finish. You can see all the rust in the screw holes and whatnot because that's just what it does to metal parts. But if you leave a true celluloid pickguard on long enough and the guitar is kept in its case, sometimes you can get that whole finish checking phenomenon like over here as well. So I don't think this spent a ton of time in the case. Please be careful of pickguards that look like these. Unfortunately, I had to fight a stripped screw on there, and in doing that, a small part of the pickguard kind of chipped off, so I just taped it onto the back. It's fine. I'm gonna have to replace this thing anyways. I'll keep it around just for, you know, the history of it. But look at the toggle switch from all the off-gassing. That thing looks like 100 years old plus. Just wait until you see the back electronics. So as far as our hardware, it's a true ABR1 bridge with a regular stop bar tailpiece. This version of the ABR1 uses a retainer wire and those saddles can fall out, but it reads Gibson with a patent number on the back. And the tailpiece is the full weight variety. As far as the controls, 2 volumes, 2 tones, with an output jack on the front. So what's kind of cool about this finish, from far away you don't even recognize that it does it. But if you get really close, you can actually still see the wood grain. So you can see the 9-piece mahogany walnut neck in this one running up and down right there. And then all the other mahogany wood grain underneath it. It's kind of hard to show on this camera, but it is there. But kind of a cool neon purple blast, I guess you could say. Maybe not my first choice in color, but purple Gibsons are kind of hard to find, so finding a Firebird like this is pretty cool. This one would look great in a complete set when I hunt them all down. Moving on from our mahogany wings, we continue up the neck here. Remember, Firebirds are neck through, at least this version. And we've got the acrylic trapezoid inlays that match with our pickguard. 22 medium jumbo style frets, 12-inch radius, 24 3/4-inch scale length, nothing too crazy here, with a beautiful rosewood fretboard. The early 90s Firebird necks are pretty slim. 1.68 inches at the nut, 2.05 by the 12th, 0.88 first fret neck depth, and 0.93 by the 12th stays very skinny and consistent. Here's what the neck looks like at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. It just gets nice and wide. Personally, I like the bigger necks like the Johnny Winter Firebird, but I love the custom colors of this era. Here's a peek inside the truss rod cavity. You can see the mahogany and walnut stripes right along the side. Truss rod's looking good, and our headstock is also looking good. Cleaned up nicely. It's a little bit more of like the edge purple on the headstock rather than the brighter purple right there. We've just got the standard gold Gibson logo on a very thin truss rod cover. Moving on to the back, it's more of the phenomenons that we saw up front. If you get into the light just right, you can see through the finish to see the multi-pieced neck. Here's a pretty good angle where you can see it. You can see the ceiling, but then these lines right here are actually the neck through. As far as the condition goes, you got a couple of dings right there, but other than that, fairly clean for being a 1990. Looks like maybe a little bit of finish wear right there. But this one also has the celluloid backplate, so I'll have to replace that thing too. But you can see what that did to the electronics in here. And this is after cleaning them a little bit. I mean, they just have all that oxidation on them everywhere. Thankfully, it still seems to work though. Run up the back of the neck. Maybe a few small impressions here or there, but for the most part, very clean. There's our beautiful Custom Shop Original decal, the reason why I love these things. But now the biggest mystery. Why are there red outlines, technically they're like orange, around here? This looks like a stand rash mark to me, so I figured the bottom side of these banjo tuners must have a rubber stripping or something, but they don't. So something with this metal reacts to the finish of these, because I see that on a lot of these early 90s Firebirds. It's kind of weird. There's our serial number of this one, 1990, 340th day of the year, 727th production number, made in USA. Small ding right there. And another one right here. As far as the blacklight test goes, everything looks okay here. If you're wondering what these black marks are, it's one of my feather dusters. Feathers got caught under there and I'm having a hard time getting it off. The body has a nice even glow here. Even our pickguard is glowing. Backside looks just about the same. You can see a small area of finish wear right there that's kind of chipped. And the neck is nice and evenly glowing as well.
However, we do have a little bit of like a stand rash mark. I guess you can kind of feel that. It's also an impression. So this was on display somewhere, which probably is the saving grace for the finish, though. Definitely better to display this rather than case it. There you can see those discoloration marks around the tuners again. But how's this for fun? Kind of a ghostly green, but then shine a flashlight, it turns purple. Kind of spooky. I like it, especially up here. And the last spec to capture before we play it is the weight, about 8.5 pounds. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So for me, it's all about the neck pickup on this Firebird. It's great. It's nice and deep, but still spanky at the same time. The middle position has a nice chime to it as well. The bridge sounds a little bit thin clean to me. I'm sure that'll come to life with a little bit of distortion. Bridge pickup. That sounds really good. Very vintage-esque inspired right there. Now let's try our neck position. I really thought the bridge pickup was going to steal the show here. But the neck pickup shines through once again.
Now that we know all about the Violet Burst Firebird 5, what are my final thoughts on this thing? I bought this strictly for the color and because I want to make a collection out of these early 90s Firebirds, just because I think they're interesting. It's a fascinating period in time for Gibson's history. Right before the custom shop opens, before they start doing really crazy stuff, they had things like this, custom shop editions. However, I've actually fallen in love with the way this thing sounds. That darn neck pickup steals the show, dirty or clean, but that bridge has a really good vintage sound to it as well in the distorted channel. As far as the way this one plays, honestly, it's one of my favorite Firebirds. I still like the Johnny Winter Firebird better because it's got the chunkier neck, but this neck profile, maybe it's just because I'm slowly getting used to it since this is my third Firebird from this era, but I really enjoyed this one. It's a shame I'll have to replace this really cool looking Perloid pickguard with a newer one that's not quite as aged. But I think it's worth it to, preserve this beautiful guitar before it saps all the finish out of it like it did underneath it. So Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at a personal collection guitar of mine. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.